So I'm trying to knock some filler videos out today because I'm afraid that I'm going to be running behind, grasping at straws, and then things won't be good. But welcome to another video of So You Think You Want to Build a Skoolie in the electrical series. And today I'm going to be talking about 50 amp versus 30 amp, or 30 amp versus 50 amp. Like, really, what is the difference? So from my understanding of it all, first of all, 30 amp and 50 amp is like capacity. So like how many amp hours of electricity can be running through your bus. And if I'm speaking complete Greek to you, just think about it as like a capacity. So like if you have a 30 ounce container, you can only pour 30 ounces of water into that. If you try to pour more, it will overfill. In terms of electricity, if you try to pull more, a breaker will flip. So I hope that kind of made a little bit of sense. Came up with that right off the top of my head. Look at me doing examples, and someone's gonna come along and be like, that's a terrible example, it doesn't relate at all. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not an electrician. I think I made that clear, very clear. The reason why I decided to go with 30 amp is because that's kind of more common at campsites and stuff, and I know you can go down from 50 amp to 30 amp, but I didn't want to have my system set up in a way that it would run 50 amp and run everything comfortably for me, and then end up in a situation when I was running 30 amp and then have to like really rethink my system. I'm one of those people that I would just like to do it the hard way, I guess, live miserably. But it really just comes down to like lifestyle, how you're gonna use your bus, what you're planning on using. Definitely if you're planning on being on grid a lot and you plan on running an air conditioner, especially if you plan on running 2 air conditioners, if your bus is longer, you really should go with like a 50 amp. But just know that not all camping sites and places will have a 50 amp hookup available. And I think I said that before. Yeah, I kind of said that before. Just because it doesn't have 50 amp available doesn't mean that you can't stay there. It just means, like, you know, you have your, instead of your 30 ounce container, you have your 50 ounce container, and you're only getting it to put 30 in there. So your container's never going to be all the way full, which means you can't run your entire capacity of your load center or breaker box or whatever. Breakers are going to flip. That's all I'm saying is, yeah, if you don't have enough juice, breakers will flip. That's the point. If you don't have enough juice, your breakers will flip. With 30 amp, of course, you're going to reach if you go with a 30 amp system, you're going to reach capacity faster, so you might not be able to, per se, run a microwave and the air conditioner at the same time, especially if they're on the same circuit. So that might be something that you want to keep in mind. How many appliances do you think you're going to be running? Are you going to be a heavy power user or a light power user? If you're going to be off-grid a lot, I'm sure that you're already thinking about ways to mitigate your power usage, so you probably won't go ahead and need the 50 amps, but if you feel comfortable going with it, then you can go ahead and go with it. I just went with 30 amps because I don't know, like, why did I go with 30 amps? That's a good question. The video is very disorganized, but it's a very short video. Aren't you guys proud of me? I can do short videos until I mumble until it's 5 minutes. Gosh. So to recap, the difference between 30 amp and 50 amp is really simple. One gives you a bigger cup so that you can have more electricity and you can use more electricity. And the only really downside to going with the bigger one that I can think of is that it's the bigger hookups are not always available. So you'll probably wind up in a 30 amp spot if you're camping a lot, and if you plan on going a lot of places, just like niche places. Maybe if you're going to bigger areas where there's more campgrounds available, maybe you won't have that problem. I'll have to check national parks, and I might leave like a little thing here if I say it, but I know like national parks have a lot of restrictions in terms of length because they were built so long ago when campers weren't that big. You know, site links aren't that big, but I don't know if that transfers over to electricity as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here's my general disclaimer. Yeah, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.